Let me paint a picture for you. You're a 13-year-old girl who just sang a song called Friday. You don't expect to become famous overnight. If you're being honest with yourself, the song will exist in complete obscurity, and only a few thousand people will ever see it. You'll look back on this day when you're a musical superstar and laugh. After all, it's just a silly little song about the 5th day of the week, and your morning routine on that said day. It isn't the best song in the world, but it's a valuable addition to your musical resume, and you had a lot of fun making it. The fact that you made an entire song is an accomplishment most 13-year-olds can't say they've done, and you can take solace in the fact that it will never go viral and that you can move on with the rest of your life. And then, something unexpected happens. The song that you thought would only be seen by a few thousand people has gone viral overnight because it was discovered by some big names in the world of entertainment. You have become the face and the voice of what some consider to be the worst song ever made. You are relentlessly bullied, mocked, and ridiculed for the song's dumb and overly simplistic lyrics, the excessive use of auto-tune, the seizure-inducing visual effects, and the dollar store bargain bin quality of the music video. The craziest part about all of this is the fact that you didn't even write the song, but because your name was on it, you received the entirety of the internet's scorn. A month ago, you were a normal teenage girl, and now you've become an unintentional worldwide celebrity. You're probably wondering how all of this happened in such a short amount of time. Well, you're in luck, because I'm going to tell the story behind the song that made you famous, or to be more technically accurate, infamous. I'm also going to tell the story of what happened to you on the day after Friday and the day that comes afterwards. You and me are gonna have a ball today, so buckle up, Rebecca, because this is going to be a wild ride. Rebecca Black was born on June 21st, 1997 in Irvine, California. Her mother, Georgina, was a Mexican immigrant while her father, John, was originally from Iowa, and they were both veterinarians. Rebecca attended private school from kindergarten all the way up to 6th grade, and then moved to a public school in 7th grade. She auditioned for her school's musical theater program and was accepted. In the summer of 2010, a friend of hers had filmed a music video for a song that she did at their school. When Rebecca asked her about it, her friend said that she had made it through a company called Arc Music Factory. Arc Music Factory was founded by Clarence J. and Patrice Wilson in 2010. Arc's business model was centered around pre-packaged songs that would be performed by young sinners. Artists, or to be more technically accurate, their parents, would pay a fee to Arc, which was between $2,000 and $4,000. Arc would write and produce the songs, and the artist in question would perform them. Rebecca saw this as a golden opportunity and decided that she wanted to make a song of her own, so she asked her mom if she could follow in her friend's footsteps, and she surprisingly said yes. Her mom paid $2,000 for the song itself and another $2,000 for the music video. All in all, she paid $4,000 to have Arc write and produce a song for her daughter. Arc presented Rebecca with 2 songs. The first was a song called Superwoman, which was about a girl being the superwoman of a boy. She politely turned down that song for a very understandable reason.
They sent me a song, and the first song was a song called Superwoman, about being some boy's superwoman. And at that point, I had just finished up my first relationship that lasted 3 days, and I broke up with him because I was too afraid to talk to him. So that clearly wasn't going to be the song that I was going to sing. I asked them to send me another one because I just didn't really feel comfortable.
The other song she was offered was Friday, which was a song about the various things a kid would do in the morning. Rebecca immediately gravitated towards the song because she felt that it was more reflective of things that she actually did, so she happened happily agreed to record it. The music video for Friday was filmed on January 6th, 2011 at her dad's house in Anaheim over the course of 12 hours, with her friends and family serving as extras. The song's co-writer and co-producer Patrice Wilson explained his reasoning behind Friday in an interview with Gawker. "I wrote the lyrics on a Thursday night going into a Friday. I was writing different songs all night and was like, wow, I've been up a long time and it's Friday. And I was like, wow, it is Friday." The video was uploaded to ARC's YouTube channel on February 10th, 2011. Nobody knew it at the time, but this would prove to be a monumental moment in internet history.
It's Friday, Friday, gotta get down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend, Friday, Friday, getting down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend, partying, 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 fun, 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 looking forward to the weekend.
Contrary to popular belief, Friday was not an immediate hit. As a matter of fact, it only garnered 3,000 views in its first month. The song was not designed to be a viral hit, and it seemed destined to remain in obscurity. That would change on March 11th, 2011, when Mystery Science 3000 head writer Michael J. Nelson tweeted about it and proclaimed that it answered the question of, what's the worst video ever made? On that very same day, the Comedy Central show Tosh.0 wrote a post on their blog titled "Songwriting Isn't for Everyone," where they made fun of the song's incredibly dumb lyrics. These unexpected discoveries turned the song into a viral hit. It went from a few thousand views to nearly 9 million in just 5 days. The song was universally panned for its subpar lyrical content, its overuse of autotune on Rebecca's voice, the amateurish visual effects, the cheap dollar store quality of the video, and Patrice Wilson's god-awful rap verse. There are many more reasons why people hated this song, but if I listed them all, we would be here all day. People hated this song so much that it quickly surpassed Justin Bieber's Baby as the most disliked video in YouTube history, with over 1.2 million dislikes. Friday, being the musical equivalent of opening the Ark of the Covenant, was a completely intentional, strategic decision according to Patrice Wilson. Yeah, people didn't like the song, didn't like the music video, they thought it was really cheesy, but that was the whole point, to create something that was really simple but something that sticks in people's head, to have people say, I hate this song, but I'm still singing it. To say that the internet was not kind to Rebecca would be an understatement. Even though she didn't write this song, she had become the face and the voice of a musical abomination, and because of that, the wider internet populace needed to use somebody as their punching bag. Unfortunately, that punching bag turned out to be her. Some people left negative comments about how much they hated the song, others sent death threats which were investigated by the Anaheim Police Department, and someone decided that it was a good idea to say this to a 13-year-old girl.
The meanest thing I read was, I hope you cut yourself and I hope you get an eating disorder so you'll look pretty.
The backlash got so bad that ARC offered to take the video down, but Rebecca refused because she didn't want to give her haters the satisfaction of letting them get to her so bad that she quit. The video remained online until June 16th, 2011, when it was taken down due to a copyright claim by Miss Rebecca Black. When I say Rebecca Black in this context, I'm talking about the adults that were conducting business on her behalf. It turned out that the adults in the room were squabbling behind the scenes over who actually owned the rights to the fifth day of the week. On March 29th, 2011, Rebecca and her mother, Georgina, accused ARC Music Factory of copyright infringement and unlawful exploitation of publicity rights. Their lawyer, Brian Shaw, wrote a letter to ARC and alleged that they had failed to give Rebecca the master recordings to her song and video, exploited her likeness and her song on YouTube, iTunes, Amazon, and ARC's website, created an unauthorized Friday ringtone, and had been advertising advertising Rebecca as an exclusive recording artist for ARC on their website. Patrice Wilson denied these allegations in an interview with Rolling Stone. "I have met with Rebecca Black's mom and everything is fine. She will get the masters and the song. They can have it all." When Rebecca's mom paid the $4,000 fee to ARC in November 2010, the agreement stipulated that Rebecca had 100% ownership and control over Friday, which included the master recording and the music video. ARC's lawyer, Barry Rothman, disputed the validity of this agreement. The agreement was not court approved. They say they own the composition. Nothing could be further from the truth. If they go forward and license it or attempt to copyright it in their name, that would be copyright infringement, and we'd act accordingly under the circumstances. We're not prepared to engage them in producing documents just because they want them, without a court order or litigation. We'd like to see Rebecca Black's career go forward, and we're trying to accomplish that in the context of working through the legalities. ARC's creative director, Barry Wayne, believed that Rebecca didn't own the rights to Friday and that her mom was being unreasonable. Georgina's trying to get the rights to things she doesn't have the rights to. As a result of this legal dispute, the music video for Friday was removed from YouTube, and as I previously stated, it was not taken down by Rebecca herself. Her legal team asked YouTube to take the video down, and YouTube obliged. It's also important to mention that ARC were charging users $2.99 to watch the video, which is something I didn't even know you could do, but ARC went ahead and did it because they saw dollar signs in their eyes and wanted to capitalize on a viral hit. The two sides were able to work something out, and by work something out, I'm talking about the fact that ARC gave Rebecca full ownership of the song, which is why she re-uploaded the video to her own YouTube channel on September 16th, 2011. At the time of writing this, the video has over 174 million views. Friday was the highest viewed YouTube video in 2011, and I know that for a fact because Rebecca was the host of the 2011 edition of YouTube Rewind. The success of Friday was a double-edged sword in more ways than one. On one hand, it opened the door for a lot of amazing opportunities that she otherwise would not have gotten. On the other hand, it had an extremely negative effect on her education and her personal life.
At this point as well, I had stopped going to the school I was at, public school, and I stepped into homeschooling to finish the year. I come from a family of doctors who expect nothing but literally greatness from you, and I was getting all of these crazy opportunities, you know, spend a day doing this and then spend a day going and working with this person and doing all of these crazy things. My grades were horrible. On top of that, yeah, kids were mean. I'd walk down the hallways and it was just this like weird persnickety, like very few people were laughing with me. I was like, this would all just be so much easier if I could not be so nervous about it all the time. As much as like I wanted to keep my friends and how much I needed them at that point, I think both me and those friends cut each other off because we were young and petty, and yeah, I don't know if there's one person to blame, but I think I isolated myself like while also being isolated.
Rebecca released 2 more songs in 2011, My Moment, which was a self-empowerment song that was addressed towards the people that didn't like Friday, and Person of Interest, which was a fairly typical pop song about teenage crushes. Neither of these songs were a hit on the level of Friday, and they didn't have the same staying power, because they didn't stand out in any meaningful way. It wasn't an assault on the ears from a musical perspective, which was detrimental from a viral perspective perspective, because without all of the elements that made Friday what it was, the songs were seen as nothing more than your average run-of-the-mill pop songs. Rebecca made an appearance in the music video for Katy Perry's Last Friday Night, and was the one that gave Kathy Beth Terry a makeover. Rebecca would reach a new level of pop culture notoriety when Friday was covered by Glee on May 10th, 2011 in the episode Prom Queen. This was a match made in heaven. Glee was one of the most popular shows on television at the time, and Friday was one of the most popular songs in the world at the time. It was popular for all the wrong reasons, but it was popular nonetheless. By this point, it was clear that the song had transcended from being an internet phenomenon to a worldwide pop culture phenomenon. When Glee's co-creator Ryan Murphy was asked why he decided to cover Friday, his response was very simple. The show pays tribute to pop culture, and love it or hate it, that song is pop culture. On December 7th, 2013, Rebecca would release a sequel to Friday that was cleverly titled Saturday.
This Saturday we gon' party all night. One we will remember for the rest of our lives. This Saturday we gon' do it bigger than we ever have before. I don't want this Saturday to end. I don't want this Saturday to end. I don't want this Saturday to end.
The video contained a few nostalgic callbacks to Friday, such as the alarm clock, the bowl filled with cereal, and Patrice's terrible rap verse, which was uttered by a black man that was being arrested by the police. The song was received in a much more positive light by internet audiences, and it sounded a lot more pleasant, due to the fact that Rebecca's voice wasn't drowned out by an overabundance of auto-tune. This song proved, without a shadow of a doubt, that Rebecca could actually sing, and that the factors that made Friday so atrocious were not of her own making. By this point, it would have been completely logical for Rebecca Black to completely disappear from the spotlight. When a normal person becomes the face of a viral hit, their entire identity is fused with the thing that made them famous, and in many instances, it's all they are ever known for. Fame was accidentally thrust upon Rebecca at the age of 13. It wasn't something that she actively chose to seek out. The prospect of her establishing an identity outside of Friday looked to be extremely dubious. Her only hope for salvation was to dance on the line of the Great Divide and reinvent herself in a way that no one saw coming. Rebecca released The Great Divide on August 26th, 2016. It was her first new song in nearly 3 years, and it was a dramatic departure from what she had done before. Not only was it a ballad about a toxic relationship, it was also about learning to let people that aren't good for you go, and to leave them behind in the past where they belong. The song perfectly showcased Rebecca's incredible vocal range, and proved once and for all that she could actually sing. If you had told someone 5 years earlier that the girl responsible for the worst song ever made would eventually make something like this, they probably would have laughed in your face and asked what kind of crack you were smoking. But alas, it was real, and her reinvention campaign was off to a pretty good start. After all, anything is possible on the internet. On June 7th, 2018, Rebecca appeared as a contestant in a Season 2 episode of the Fox music competition series, The 4 Battle for Stardom. She covered the classic NSYNC song Bye Bye Bye, and was able to advance to the next round after receiving 3 blue lights from judges Meghan Trainor, DJ Khaled, and P. Diddy. In the following round, she went up against James Graham from the boy band Stereo Kicks. James covered Leon Russell's A Song for You, while Rebecca covered Edna Swap's Torn. While she put on a good performance, she was ultimately eliminated from the show when audiences decided to keep Graham as part of the 4. Despite being eliminated, she more than held her own, and more importantly, it was a big step towards rebuilding her image and establishing her identity as a legitimate musical artist. She would shock the world by collaborating with YouTuber Miranda Sins on an adapted version of Friday titled Donut Friday. This collaboration was created to celebrate National French Fry Day 2018 and to promote Dunkin' Donuts' donut fries. Unfortunately, I can't show the video because it's been privated, but I wanted to show you this continuous move-in GIF. And it is absolutely crazy that these two collaborated on anything, when you consider the fact that their reputations took a dramatic shift after this ad campaign. My biggest problem with it is the fact that she doesn't have a ukulele in her hand. I wanted to hear Miranda sing about the toxic gossip train because I think it would have been really funny, but it would have been really out of place in 2018 because she was actually a well-respected YouTuber back then. So, yeah. And if I'm being honest, if she pulled out a ukulele and sang about the toxic gossip train in her Miranda Sins voice, it would have been very, very out of place. But I just wanted to show you all this because it is absolutely surreal in every sense of the word. The devil did not wear Prada in this instance, and her name was not Miranda. On February 10th, 2020, Rebecca wrote an emotional post on her Instagram page where she talked about the toll Friday had taken on her and how she wished that she could go back to her past and talk to her younger selves about the various things that they were going through. 9 years ago today, a music video for a song called Friday was uploaded to the internet. Above all things, I just wish I could go back and talk to my 13-year-old self who was terribly ashamed of herself and afraid of the world. To my 15-year-old self who felt like she had nobody to talk to about the depression she faced. To my 17-year-old self who would get to school only to get food thrown at her and her friends. To my 19-year-old self who had almost every producer/songwriter tell me they'd never work with me. Hell, to myself a few days ago who felt disgusting when she looked in the mirror. I'm trying to remind myself more and more that every day is a new opportunity to shift your reality and lift your spirit. You are not defined by any one choice or thing. Time heals and nothing is finite. It's a process that's never too late to begin, and so, here we go. This might be a weird thing to post, but the honesty feels good, if nothing else. Rebecca would once again make headlines, but this time, it wouldn't be for her music, it would be about her personal life. She officially came out as a lesbian on April 5th, 2020, during an episode of the Dating Straight podcast.
Okay, so Reba, you just came out.
I guess I did. This is like the most like I keep just like really like I made like a conscious decision to not like come out, but just to like, I don't know, I guess people started asking and I just stopped like not responding.
Yeah. You popped in. You didn't come out. You popped in.
Yeah.
You were like just popping in to say.
Yeah. And I'm still like in the process.
What do you identify
it feels like.
as?
I mean, I guess the best way every day, it's like the fucking quarantine. Every day is different. Like it's something that over the past few years, I've obviously been having a lot of conversations with myself a lot, but, and with, you know, like you guys and my friends and my family and stuff. But I think
calling us gay.
Yeah, I am calling you gay.
Oh.
What?
But I think like to me, the word queer feels really nice. I have dated I've dated a lot of different types of people. And like, I just don't really know what the future holds. And some days I feel a little bit more on the gay side than others. But yeah, I mean, I just got out of a relationship with a girl that was a pretty long relationship.
On February 8th, 2021, Friday would be certified gold by the RIAA for selling 500,000 units. 2 days after that, a hyperpop remix of the song was released in honor of its 10th anniversary. The remix featured Dorian Electra, 303, and Big Frida, and it has to be seen to be believed.
It's like
entire video is a tongue-in-cheek affair that is filled with sensory overload. The remix embraces the silliness and absurdity of the original and turns it up to 11. One of the biggest criticisms of the original was the fact that ARC used too much auto-tune on Rebecca's voice, so in the remix she decided to make her voice almost unrecognizable by turning up the vocal pitch to make herself sound like a chipmunk, which is a stylistic choice I can appreciate. The fact that she was able to have a sense of humor about this song a decade after the fact is nothing short of remarkable. She took something negative and turned it into something positive, and in my opinion, she deserves all the credit in the world for being able to do that. After years of releasing singles and EPs, she finally released her debut album Let Her Burn on February 9th, 2023. She followed that up 2 years later with her second album titled Salvation. It was originally supposed to be released on January 24th, 2025, but it was pushed back to February 27th due to the California wildfires. These albums played a pivotal role in her musical evolution despite the fact that neither of them were critical darlings. They both had a distinct sound that was uniquely her, which is a godsend in a music world filled with copycats and sound-alikes. By this point, she was no longer a novelty act or a punchline for mockery. She was a legitimate artist that was finally comfortable in her own skin and was no longer afraid to express her creativity in musical form. In an interview she gave to NME to promote Salvation, she explained why she liked calling herself gay. "I don't know how I'm gonna say this without sounding like a twat, but gay is a way of life. Gay is an energy that's so much bigger than how people have used it negatively. If you want to get down to specifics, I am queer, I am bi, I am pan, I am all of those things, but I am also gay." This video wouldn't be complete if I didn't mention the fact that Rebecca had a side hustle as a DJ and performed a set at Boiler Room DC last year. I know all of this sounds like it was ripped straight out of a movie, but the video that you're seeing on screen right now is in fact real, and it's a perfect microcosm of who Rebecca Black is and all of the adversity that she had to overcome just to get to this point. She could have faded into irrelevance. She could have been a one-hit wonder. She could have been another viral internet star that got their big break only to see their 15 minutes of fame expire like a carton of milk. She could have been an internet laughingstock until the end of time. The fact that she was able to overcome all of the struggles that she faced and turned lemons into lemonade is absolutely incredible, especially when you consider that she could have easily crumbled under the weight of all the hate and vitriol that she received. Rebecca Black's long journey from being hated to loved should be remembered forever as one of the greatest comeback stories in internet history. The notorious B.I.G. taught us that there was life after death. Rebecca Black has taught us that there is indeed life after Friday. When I think about Rebecca Black, the first word that immediately comes to mind is resilience. The insane amount of hate and vitriol that she was subjected to is a lot for a 13-year-old to deal with. And I'll be honest with you, if I was 13 and I was in the exact same position as Rebecca, I don't know what I would do, and I don't know how I would handle it. The reason Friday was such an atrocious song was not of her own making, and it should go without saying that she didn't deserve any of the hate and vitriol that she would receive. Even if she did write Friday, it still wouldn't have warranted any of the bullying, or the harassment, or the ridicule, or the mockery, or the death threats. It wasn't her fault. Friday, being as awful as it was not her fault, but people didn't care, because her name was on it, and she was the face and the voice of what many consider to be a musical abomination. And as I stated earlier, the internet needed to use somebody as their punching bag, and unfortunately, that punching bag was her, and it was so intensely unfair because she just did this for fun. She wasn't expecting to become famous. She wasn't actively seeking out fame. At most, she was only expecting a few thousand people to see it. It was something that she did as a way to build up her musical resume, and unfortunately, it ended up getting seen by millions of people because some big names in the world of entertainment, specifically Michael J. Nelson and Tosh.0, discovered it and sent their massive audiences towards it, and because of that, people found out about a song that had only been seen by a few thousand people at that point, and as we all know, the rest, as they say, is history. Not every 13-year-old can make it through what Rebecca had to go through, so the fact that she was able to turn something so intensely negative and turn it into something positive is utterly astounding. The perception around Rebecca Black, from being a target of mockery and a glorified punchline to being a beloved figure, is one of the greatest reversals of fortune in internet history, and she deserves to be remembered for more than just Friday, because there's a lot more to her than just that song, and I hope I've been able to convey that through this video. And what amazes me the most about all of this is the fact that she's been able to have a sense of humor about Friday and has been able to embrace how silly and absurd the song is, because I wouldn't have blamed her if she became bitter about the song. I wouldn't have blamed her if she distanced herself from it in order to be taken more seriously as a musician, because it took a huge toll on her, both professionally and personally. Very few people could have been able to be as good of a sport as Rebecca has been about Friday, and she deserves all of the credit in the world for being able to be a good sport about something that was so just, how do I say it, devastating to her life in more ways than one. Rebecca, if you ever decide to watch this, I sincerely hope that you continue living your best life, and that you continue to be successful, and that you continue to make music and be creative, because you deserve it after all of the bullshit you had to endure. And I also hope that people see you as an actual person with feelings and emotions, because there is a lot more to you than just this one song, and you deserve to be remembered as far more than just the girl who sang what some consider to be the worst song ever made. I think I've made my point clear, so I'm just going to end it here. This is ThatKidDouglas, aka The Unhero, signing out. Deuces. And until next time, remember to stay frosty and keep it weird.